Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. And today we're talking all things Declan Rice. Big news coming out this morning from all the different journalists, all the different sources suggesting that City are ready to play their hand now and make a bid for Declan Rice. Now, of course, we see Declan Rice play for West Ham when he's played against City. We've seen him play for England, but we want to hear a little bit more about Declan Rice, a bit more about his profile and how maybe he could fit into this side and addressing some concerns that some City fans have about Declan Rice coming into this team. I'm joined by Dan from West Ham Fan TV. Obviously sees Declan Rice week in, week out. Saw him lift the UEFA Conference League as well, bro. Congratulations, my head.
Cheers, mate, from one European champion to another.
It's nice to say that, bro. It's nice to say that. But Dan,
Yeah,
listen,
man.
I want to get straight into it. And I want to start off by asking you a couple of questions, a few concerns that some City fans have about Declan Rice. Because I've just done a stream and there's been thousands of City fans in the stream talking about Declan Rice. And the overwhelming sort of position from City fans is that we all believe that Declan Rice, in a defensive capacity, is more than good enough to step into this Manchester City side, to replace Rodri, to cover for him, to play as a double pivot next to Rodri. I guess where some of the concerns are, and this is why we wanted your expertise on this, is can he replace İlkay Gundogan in the attacking position? Because İlkay Gundogan over the last few years has really stepped up in that attacking role, getting goals, getting assists, big goals, big assists. And I guess from whenever I see Declan Rice, it's more in a sort of defensive position. So where are your thoughts at with Declan Rice in more of an attacking position?
Well, it's like, as you said, like Gundogan has stepped up in recent years in that capacity. And I think Declan Rice has the ability to step up. It's been an area of his game that he's been working on, that the sort of attacking part of his game is something that he's wanted to improve on. He's wanted to focus on, to add goals into his game, which we've seen. He's quite good at he's excellent at driving forward with the ball to his feet. Mm-hmm. Certain things he needs to add, obviously, if he wants to be able to take players on. We don't see too much of that from Declan Rice. He likes a shot from outside the box. He likes a run. The big thing for me is when I look at Declan Rice is he's 24 years old. He is going, potentially, if he signs for Man City, he's going to be playing under the best coach in football right now. And we've seen what Pep can do with players like Nathan Ake. I remember when we were linked with him, and our fans were like, "Oh, I don't know about Nathan Ake." Now look at him, like John Stones, taking him and as a midfielder. Like Pep can unlock the talent that's there. Like at West Ham, we don't have much of the ball under David Moyes, right? We're not expecting Rice to do much of that work, and when he does, he's have to do a lot of it by himself. He's playing next to Souček, who is useless on the ball. Absolutely useless. Can't pass, can't dribble, not good with the ball to his feet. So he's been having to do the work of like two midfielders. So if you have someone next to him, if you're wanting to say, right, okay, Declan, we want you to focus more on your attacking side of the game. We've got someone else next to you like that is going to be infinitely better than Thomas Souček in both areas of the pitch. It's going to give him the freedom and the flexibility to go forward more. So I think he has the potential there. Yeah, we don't see it a lot, but I've seen glimpses. He just doesn't get the opportunity to do it enough at West Ham.
Well, what would you say? Obviously, it might change being at West Ham compared to Manchester City, but based on what you've seen from him, what would you say his best position is? Is it more of like a deep lying sitter, a destroyer, deep lying playmaker? Is it a box to box? Like, what would you say the best sort of position is? Maybe start off by saying what's his best position for West Ham, because obviously his best position for West Ham may be different to City. But based on what you've seen, what would you say?
Yeah, it's probably not quite box to box, but as probably as close as you can, because for us, like I said, where he's having to do so much work in that midfield, he is sort of end to end. He's great at intercepting passes. He's great at putting in tackles and then starting attacks. So he takes the ball off, or he'll take the ball off of the opposition, and he will go and make a run. Like that is what he does. So, he has that ability, I would say, to be that box to box player. His fitness is incredible. I think he would be slightly wasted if you just said, but he'd be excellent at it. Like if you wanted him as that player to say, right, you sit there and you protect the back four, he would sweep everything up. He'd clean up everything that comes his way, right? But his ability to drive forward, I think, gives him that opportunity to play that little bit slightly more advanced role than just sitting and protecting
because I agree with what you just said there. I think there's no doubt in my mind, and I don't think there's much doubt in any City fans' mind that in that defensive role that you just mentioned, that he could come in my view, he could come into this Manchester City tie. It might take him a couple of months, maybe a season to get into it. That we often see that with City players, but there's no doubt in my mind that Declan Rice could do that role. The big question mark is really over that sort of attacking ability and will he get the goals? Now, I actually looked at his stats, and it's funny because people looked at his stats before when I brought him up on stream. I think he had 5 goals, 4 assists, and people were like, they're shit. But of course, their stats from more of a defensive point of view, right? Obviously,
at West Ham.
At West Ham, yeah.
If you look at the stats from like this season, taking away penalties from some of our top goal scorers like Antonio, and players like that, Bowen, he's not far off. He's not far off of our strikers when it comes to goals and assists. So that is something to tell you. Yeah, it's shit because offensively we've been shit. So imagine what he could do in a Man City side with, months or a season of Pep's coaching.
So do you think that if City got this deal over the line, which of course we don't fully understand if it is going to go through yet, but if City did get this deal through the line, would you believe that Declan Rice could come into this City team and make an improvement? Like, what's his ceiling? How good can Declan Rice be?
I have no doubt in my mind that he can go on to be a Man City captain. Like, no doubt in my mind.
Jeez,
like, his mentality is elite. He has an elite mentality. He will put the work in off the pitch to improve whatever aspect of his game he needs. And that is what has got him to the level that he's at today. Like, he puts in the work. He's passionate. He's one of those when you, and I'm saying Ronaldo, I'm not saying he's like anything like Ronaldo, but when you look at the great players, that the mentality they've had off the pitch to their training and to improve, putting the extra time in, showing up, he has that. He has all of that. So at 24 years old, his ceiling is very, very high at Man City, and as a leader, he's captained our side at 24 years old, captured us to a trophy. And, he's been integral in the dressing room. We've seen it. There's times where we've been in the low points, the players have been down and he drags them through and he lifts them up. And you're getting so much more than just like what Declan Rice can do on the pitch now. You're getting the potential, you're getting the leadership, you're getting the personality. He will be loved. So I honestly think he has all the potential in the world to go on and be a world-class midfielder for Man City.
Interesting. I mean, if we look at the fees that are being rumoured, you look at this sort of information that's on the screen now and go, well, why they bidded that? Because it's exactly the same as what Arsenal bid, which of course got rejected. Apparently, the difference is that the 75 million is only going to be paid across 2 years as opposed to 4 or 5 years, and the 15 million pound add-ons are rumouredly meant to be very, very, very achievable. So what, you're taking that up to 90 million. Do you think that will be enough split over 2 years opposed to 4 or 5, which Arsenal were proposing? Do you think that will be enough to get that deal across the line? Do you think maybe there's been some rumours and some talks about Calvin Phillips? Do you reckon that could enter the question? Like, where are West Ham at with this sort of transfer fee?
Yeah, I think Calvin Phillips could definitely sweeten the deal. Obviously, David Moyes tried to sign him the January before Man City got him. Rightly got rejected because there was in a relegation battle, and then he had the job sheets paid for Man City. But when I look at that, I think that is close. The 2 installments are key because West Ham have said we want the majority of the money up front. And, technically you're giving us 50% up front, which isn't the majority, but then you're giving us the rest in the second year, which is just as good. But yeah, because we want to be able to invest this. And for FFP reasons, we need as much money now as possible. So if you say, and the fact that the add-ons are actually achievable, so we're basically realistically getting 90 million, whereas Arsenal so far have offered us 75 million because their add-ons aren't achievable. I think that's as close as it gets. I think we will try and hold out to get to that, at least that £100 million mark, or the 90 million plus Phillips. I think if you threw in Phillips with that, I think that gets it over the line. And the fact that this is Man City's first bid, like Arsenal's first bid was absolutely laughable. It was like 60 million paid over 6 years with like 10 million in unrealistic add-ons or something. That was their first bid. Was embarrassing, a Club Insider called it. This is Man City's first bid. This is a serious first bid. This is the first bid that you don't just outright reject. You sit and you consider and you go, do you know what? Maybe, you know what? Add this little. This is that first bit, and then we come back, and then, you know what I mean, either you agree that or you get somewhere close and we agree. So it might not be enough, but we're close. That's a very good first bit.
And you know, you spoke about Arsenal there. I mean, I spoke to you about this before we started recording. And this tweet is exactly right from an account called West Ham Central. I mean, Arsenal have fucked around over the last 2 weeks, and this is a sort of concern that I had with Arsenal as a sort of neutral sort of viewpoint. I've said once the season ended that I sort of worry a little bit about Arsenal going into next season, because they've shown me no evidence in January that they are serious about progressing. Now, they've had a great opportunity this summer to go out there and go, you know what, let's go and get some big players in and let's really give it a good go next year, whether it be the Champions League or the Premier League. And they've fucked around with Declan Rice. As you said, the first offer was just laughable. And now Manchester City have entered the conversation. I don't believe Manchester City would have entered this conversation unless Declan Rice has turned around and said to City, if you get the deal across the line, I will join you over Arsenal, because I just don't see City moving that way. We've already been a little bit burnt with Jude Bellingham. They're not going to do it again. So I think that Arsenal have properly fucked around here. And as it stands, I am now very confident that Declan Rice will join Manchester City, where it was only a couple of days ago that I thought he was destined for Arsenal. And I don't know, man. I think Arsenal, and of course, the signing Kai Havertz, another very strange one. I think it's just very strange.
I think, like, to me, they seem to really, especially speaking to their fans, they believe that no one else was coming in for him. Like, no one else. Like, it's just
that's naive, though, Dan. That's naive.
Very naive. And they believed, a lot of them, that Rice only wanted Arsenal. And I said to him, like, where has this been said? And for a fact, Rice will. I said, there's no chance Rice is turning down Arteta and Pep and Man City for Arteta and Arsenal. There's no way that he says no to Pep Guardiola and Man City. So they've deluded themselves into believing this. And like you said, like, literally weren't that long before the report of the bid came out that it said Man City will only go in and bid for Rice if they get assurances that he would, like you said, be open to moving. So I saw that like an hour before this one came out saying that they're about to submit a bid. So it tells me that they've most likely got these assurances. Like Rice, I've said this, if he goes there, he will go up a level as a player. If he goes to Arsenal, it is a step up from West Ham, you know, and he can be one of the main men or whatever, but Pep will turn him into an absolute beast, like an absolute beast. So it's a no-brainer. So listen, their fans have been embarrassing. So I'm really hoping Man City do get him. Honestly, like, so many receipts that I've collected, it's been beautiful. We had Robbie on the channel. I made him say, tell us right now, are you getting Rice? And he said, yeah, we're getting him. So that the clips are ready. And just need Man City to just get that over the line.
Yeah. The other thing that I would say, which, you know, backs up my argument that I think he will choose City over Arsenal if City obviously get the deal accepted by West Ham, is I seen an interview yesterday and he was speaking about the fact that he wants to win trophies. And I'm not being funny or disrespectful, but at Arsenal there is no guarantee next season or ever that they'll win trophies, because they've got Arteta as a manager who's still learning the game. Really, he's still it's his first job in senior management, and he's won an FA Cup since he's been there. And City are making moves, you know what I mean? And the way that Pep's managing this team at the moment is fantastic. You've got Chelsea spending £1 billion a year; they're going to be fighting soon. Man United, if they get Harry Kane, which obviously we don't know if it'll happen, they'll be up there. So he's got to look at this and go, if I want trophies, you got to go City over Arsenal. So we'll We'll see.
Exactly. They just had their best season in what, like 15 years and won nothing. Best opportunity to win the league, bottled it. So he could go there and maybe he might, end his career with an FA Cup or a League Cup or 2 FA Cups, or he can go Man City and win league titles. He can go Man City, potentially win another Champions League. It's a no-brainer to me. And he will be a part of that. Like I said, this season, and I've said, because Arsenal fans go, oh, well, he's not going to start there. He's not going to start. I said, look, first season, you might see like with Jack Grealish, like he might not be starting week in, week out, but he has to be able to be given time to adjust to Pep Guardiola's way of playing. He has to be given time to adjust. And if it remains one season of being a squad player and making those appearances, and then next season you're one of the main first names on the team sheet and you're a much better player than you was when you came in, that's much better than going to Arsenal and just, being the same player that you are now, essentially, and not massively improving, but starting every week and then you just don't win much. It's a no-brainer.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if we get this deal across the line. I would imagine that based on that initial bid, that maybe in the coming days we will see this deal get wrapped up. Now, I just do not see City entering this race unless they've had conversations with West Ham about what's acceptable and conversations with Declan Rice. City just don't usually move like that. We'll see. And City do need another midfielder, because we've lost Gundogan. We've got the fucking Club World Cup in December. We play 60 odd games a season. We need another midfielder. Kevin De Bruyne.
Silva's leaving, isn't he? Is Silva leaving?
Silva's potentially leaving. If PSG come up with the funds, or maybe he'll end up going to Saudi Arabia, which I think is unlikely, but maybe he'll go there. Everyone else seems to be going. But yeah, there we go, man. So big up, Dan. Hopefully you guys have watched this video and a little bit more. If you were maybe a little bit skeptical about whether or not Declan Rice could play in a more advanced position, hopefully this chat with Dan has sort of alleviated that, and you're getting excited. I can't lie, I'm getting excited now about this deal. Hopefully City can get it across the line, get him in, maybe Gvardiol for Laporte, and then it's 1 in, 1 out. Then the squad's pretty much done. Maybe if Mahrez leaves, we need to replace him. Bernardo leaves, we need to replace him. Otherwise, we are pretty much set and ready to go for next season. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, go check out West Ham Fan TV, links in the title and description, and we'll see you in the next one. See you later.